Hi, Sarupa here from sarupashah.com and the soulagentblog.com. And it's still the season of selfies, and today I want to tackle the topic of manifesting a dream, living the dream. It's a phrase that's become quite synonymous with heart-centered entrepreneurs and people who are on the kind of conscious path, or people that are looking for the world to be different, people who are feeling that the way it's been has to change. So it's about living that dream, and it's about living the dream in your own life, and it's about living the dream for everybody else, everybody else living their dream and the world changing and transforming. So this whole concept of living the dream really is about creating your own reality. It's about manifesting. It's about conscious creation. So what is it about that is the stumbling block? And I've been teaching about manifestation for the last 15 years or so, and I've been certainly playing with that energy long before I even knew it was called manifestation. As a child, I used to write things in a book, like at the beginning of a school term or beginning of a year, without anybody telling me that that's what you do, for things that I wanted to happen, how I wanted to feel, or how I wanted to do well in a class or relationships, or the kind of things that you worry about when you're sort of 10, 11, 12, even younger and a bit older than that. And then I'd lose those books. It was quite often these Hello Kitty and My Little Pony books. Hello Kitty is obviously as old as probably I am. And I used to find those books later on, or even years later. I've always had a thing for journals, and then those things would have happened. They would have come true, and I'd be like a bit, wow, ooh, what have I done? How have I managed it? And it wasn't until I got older, it wasn't until I really started to open myself to my conscious path that I realised that, there is something about this whole process of creation. So, as people who are kind of open to spirituality or the new age or whatever you want to call it, and they are just labels, but somebody who's here to kind of have a better life, to have more, do more and be more, the concept of creating your own reality isn't new, and the concept of manifestation isn't new, but there's just this thing of how do you actually make it so that the dream that you have for yourself comes true. And there's a couple of things. One thing that I think where people kind of get limited and where it starts to challenge is because you're not sure what your dream is. It swaps, it changes, it's kind of touched upon, and then there's a doubt. It could be maybe, or it is that, but I'll wait for there's proof, I'll wait for signs, I'll wait for basically something to really come and chuck itself at me and go, that's your dream, go and live it. So it's a lack of clarity. The lack of clarity about the dream is because of that disownment that kind of happens, but it's also because you haven't spent time really creating it, understanding it, and allowing it to be voiced, allowing it to have that airtime, and creating a connection with it. So that's something that is really valuable, and it's something that I do. Even for myself, I know, where I want to be, what I want to do. I know what my life purpose is. I know how responsible I am for that. But I still spend a lot of time figuring out, like, okay, what is my dream at this point? And making friends with it, sitting in the energy of it, and allowing it to kind of evolve and shift and change. Because sometimes what I think I want to do, what I think it is, may not be. It's just something that I need to kind of get over to get to the real bit. So there are processes there. The second part is that's really important, and I kind of I've shared about this in another stuff if you've been following my work, is when you kind of get clear on where you want to go, it's using that energy to support you, drive you, and to kind of be with you. So it's that kind of and I do it as visualization. So that's different to kind of connecting with the dream and getting clarity, because once you're getting that clarity, it's visualizing, and it's such an important part of manifestation. I have this 7-part process that I teach. I've been teaching it for years. It's one that I've kind of evolved from my own life. It's something that, like I said, I from way back, earliest memories are of kind of experiencing what I thought was magic. I always thought there has to be more to life than I was kind of experiencing in my family and everything, and that was completely right. So I've got this 7-part process, and visualization is absolutely key and integral to it. And if you look at one of my earlier selfies that I made on joy, you'll see that, there's a way of even visualizing that joy coming out of you. Visualization is a really powerful way to affirm either an emotion that you want, or in this case, how you start to connect to the energy of your dream and how you allow it to start to shape your actions. And then the third thing is action. You know, with having, if you've clarified your dream, if you're visualizing and then you're sitting back doing everything that's opposite to it. So let's be really extreme with the example. If your dream is to be a ballet dancer, and you are continuing to work in construction, going for a career in construction and making sure that you're working every hour that there is possible in construction, and then doing, you know, weightlifting in the evening. I mean, I told you it was going to be an extreme example. And not allowing yourself any opportunity to dance or move in those circles, or take steps towards it, then of course you're denying your dream. So when people talk about taking action, you know, there's very few people that just sit in bed and don't take any action at all. That level of inertia is a whole different kind of ball game, but it's about taking action that's aligned. You know, when we've discovered, okay, this is where I want to go, I stay open with it. You know, and personally, it's not that it's fixed and it's all or nothing. You know, I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. But I do start to take that action. So I start to be available, maybe find a group of people, if it was ballet, that I could go and start hanging around with, starting a ballet class, inquiring about it, reading, watching programs, and putting myself more in that energy, and allowing myself to start aligning with that. So it's not about turning your back on what you're doing and saying, oh my goodness, I've got to make a marked change overnight. But this is all part of the process of manifesting, creating your own reality, and really showing up for yourself. And this is something that I'm going to be, you know, my manifestation process is something I'm definitely going to be sharing with everybody that comes to my workshop on January the 17th. It is stuff that I've been teaching for a very, very long time. It's tried, it's tested, it's a process that I use. And, you know, between me and you, when I've turned my back on it for whatever reason, you know, particularly, you know, 2013 was a difficult year. My dad started off with having cancer, and we had so much illness and death, and it was one of those kind of like turbulent turmoil years. I kind of slipped into this old pattern of mine where I just didn't feel like I had to give myself enough time to do what I wanted. And I was watching, because I'm quite good, I was journaling, even though I say I'd sort of turned my back on me. And I realised when I stopped visualising, when I stopped making that connection to get the clarity with my dream, when I stopped taking aligned action, I started to take action that was easy. You know, I just thought, well, I know what I'm doing there, and I'll save that other stuff. Everything started to kind of limit and narrow, and I felt blocked, even though I don't like that word. I just felt like I was stuck. I felt like I was just not moving, and then my dream became something that was just this out of reach. I could see it, but I couldn't get it, you know, type of energy. And to shift that, you need to start, you know, with the 3 things that I've talked about today. Okay, get your clarity. Start to visualize. It doesn't have to be complicated. We're not looking for detail. Visualize success. Visualize you being that ballet dancer, if that's, you know, with the example that we're going with. And take action that starts to move you. So if you are working in construction and you want to be in ballet, start to find a class, start to do something, start to go to shows, start to put yourself in that energy. So that's my kind of little message for you today about how to create your own reality so that you can live the dream. You know, living the dream is a great term, but underneath that is the whole process of conscious creation, manifestation, creating your own reality. If you want to learn more, do click on the link, find out about my workshop on January the 17th. It's in London at the Ritz. Even if you're not in London, make your way there. You're going to feel fabulous from the second you walk in to that venue. It's one of the world's top hotels, deliberately chosen, okay, because I want people to raise their frequency, raise their vibration while they're in there. When you feel good, you will shift far easier than when you don't feel good, okay? And then we're going to work through how to raise your spiritual bar. I'm going to be teaching you about manifestation. I'm going to be teaching you about intuition. I'm going to be teaching you how to be spiritually powerful, how to recognize when your emotions are driving you, and how to return back to that place where you can take aligned action and start to really live that dream, because ultimately that's what we all want. So check the link below, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you've got any feedback or questions generally about manifestation, please do. And until the next time, I'm sending you much, much love.